and all the pecans are coming down. Whew.
Makes for a nice crunchy noise.
Right.
Yeah.
Now there's an old brass doorknob that he hammered in the patio back here. Has 1968. That's when he started all this. And he did all the concrete work and the marble work and stuff because he didn't want to cut the grass anymore. And then, so I think he didn't want to paint the house anymore, is the reason he put the beer cans on there. And he'd been saving beer cans, ever since the aluminum cans came out, I guess.
When did aluminum cans come out?
I'm not sure what date it was, but anyway, he had his mother's attic full and our garage full, so.
So tell me what the backyard looked like in 1968, before he started.
Well, we had a big tree back here and grass all over and some, flowers and things like that. But he just didn't want to fool with cutting the grass anymore, so we ended up doing this. And
did he start from this spot right here and
yes.
just radiated out from
mm-hmm.
there?
And he made the concrete blocks and he put the marbles in there. And the fence in the back was all redwood, like the little section up there on the right. It has the marbles in it, and it was all across the back. And when the sun had come up in the morning, it just sparkled all different colors. It was really pretty. But when Alicia, the hurricane, blew the fence down back here and on the side, well, my son decided to put bottles up. So we'd have something a little different, but still in the theme of the beer can house. And he's got some marbles in the middle section there, and the bottles, and some marbles in the bottles, and they look pretty. And that's pretty too when the sun comes up in the morning.
I bet it is.
Mm-hmm.
Where did he collect the marbles from?
Well, he found some marbles that our boys had when they were young. They used to play marbles. They don't play marbles anymore, but and then he bought a little variety store down on Washington Avenue out of all their marbles. And then he eventually found places that sold marbles, and so when he needs them, he sends off for them now.
How long would it take him to do, let's say, one of these cement panels on the ground?
Oh,
start to finish. Do you remember?
I really don't know. He did all this himself, and I was working back then. And he said he was just going to put a border around the bottom of the house, but he got carried away, I guess, and covered the whole thing. So there's over 50,000 cans on the house. That's what Ripley's, believe it or not, when they came out, estimated. Because they tried counting them all, and they just got tired of it. So I guess when they got to 50,000, they just said over 50,000 and forget about it,
Has there been any other beer can house that you know of?
No. Mm-mm. Not that I know of.
When you were working, was he home doing this, or was he working as well?
Well, he was working when he first started, but then after he retired, of course, he worked about 4 hours every day on it. And
was there a particular time of day that he liked to work
usually,
better than other times?
Usually in the morning. He'd usually work about 4 hours in the morning, and then he'd go out in the front and sit on the porch. And his friends that we've known for years that live in the neighborhood came over, the fellows, and they talked. In fact, he called it swapping lies. So
what kinds of bottles are these?
These are mostly beer bottles. There are some other kind of bottles in here, though, but most of those are beer bottles. Few wine bottles.
Did he ever do any drawings of his design that he wanted to do?
No.
Tell me how he constructed this.
Well, he made most of his own tools, and he had a little hook knife that he'd cut the rims off, the bottoms and the top, and then he would cut with scissors the beer can and lay it out flat and put something heavy on it so it would lay flat. And when he got enough, about a yard long, then he would put them on the house because he didn't want to put in too many nail holes in the house. because we've got a wood siding underneath that.
Oh, okay. So he would make one long strip. Let's turn this way so I can get a better picture to you.
Okay.
So he would make one long strip like that?
Mm-hmm. About a yard long, I would guess, and about that tall. And then he'd put it on the house, cover it that way. And then the rims off the cans, some of them he would make and cut the inside out and hang them up. And he hung the tabs of it up, and he inverted some of them and made those little squares. And then the rings he had coming down like a curtain around the house. I think at one time he wanted to make a curtain around the house out of leather, but he never could find enough leather, so he put it up with beer cans. And he never thought anybody would ever be interested in it, but we've had more people come by, been in books and magazines. They made a little movie over here called Something Else. In fact, Suzanne Demchek, well, she's deceased now, you know her, yeah, from the Orange Show, got married in the backyard here under that arch. And that was really a nice little wedding. It was adorable. They had about 50 people, I guess, in the backyard, you know, drinking champagne, and had a little Ukrainian band over here. And they went off in the Fruitmobile from the Orange Show over to the Old Heights Theater for their reception. And that, she's got a big family, and they had a wonderful reception over there.
Oh, I bet that was
So,
great.
yeah, that was nice. Yeah.
So I noticed that your husband put plaques periodically in the sidewalk. Like there's 1968. Isn't there one that says 1969?
Yeah, there's one out in the driveway,
Yeah.
1969. That's how far he got with the concrete work. Took him a year to do out to there, because he just worked on it every day.
Wow. Are there any other details back here you want to tell me about, or
Well,
show me?
I don't know. My son made a little wishing well over there that shows where the beer can house is in Texas. And I don't know what else.
Let me stop just for a second.
Sure.
Tell me about your mobile.
Oh, well, now my husband made the mobile in the front that's on the little ladder that was his dad's ladder. But my son makes the mobiles that we have back here, and the ones they sell at the Orange Show. So, and I'm building a little shop for him over here. I don't drive anymore. I don't have a car, so we thought we'd just put up a little shop. They can do their artwork in there. They're all interested. Even my grandson, Mark, works over at the Orange Show.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. So we're all a little nuts, I guess.
Tell me a little bit about the sound. Let's walk around to the side of the house.
Okay.
And you can tell me about the sound they make.
Okay, these are the ones I like the best. They make the nicest sound, I think. These are the ones that he cut out the rims and cut these out and put them inside, so that took much longer than the other ones. They're just hanging in the front. And these make the nicest noise, I think. Like a giant wind chime.
So he cut those out and then reattached each one of them?
Yes. So that was the job, but he loved being outside and working in the garage and working on the beer cans, drinking his beer. When he retired, he drank 6 or 8 beers every day, I think. His favorite beer was whatever was on special. No, I think he liked Shiner beer and Budweiser. So, and Budweiser every year has a beer can competition, except this year they're not having it, but they have for 7 years, and they've asked me to be a judge in the beer can competition for Clean Houston.
What do you mean a beer can competition? What do they do?
Well, they have a big tent out there, and they get architects, from the University of Houston and different groups. And they give them so many cans, all the cans they want, and so many hours to build something. And it's incredible the stuff they build out there, you know. And then the prize is they dedicate a solid brass mug to my husband, which I thought was very nice.
So did your husband's house inspire them to do that? To do the competition?
I have no idea if it inspired him or not, but it may have.
Tell me what your neighbors think of your house.
Well, the neighbors, some of them lived out here longer than we have. We moved here in 1942, and they're all friends. So they liked it fine. And they knew my husband and how he was, and, you know, like he did his own thing, so. So they didn't say anything.
Where do you think he got the inspiration to do it? I mean, you said he didn't want to cut the grass and he didn't want to paint the house, but
Yeah.
I mean, do you think that's really it?
I'm not sure. He never did. He did tell me he didn't want to cut the grass anymore, but he didn't say he put them on the house because he didn't want to paint it anymore. But I don't know of any other reason that he would do that. Of course, it is great insulation. You know, my bills are all cheaper than my neighbors. So that's one nice thing. No, I'm
What
not
should-
good at this.
Oh, yes, you are. Don't worry. I mean, we can edit any of this
Yeah,
out
okay.
that we don't want.
Okay.
So, yeah, I know it's not the easiest thing in the world to do.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And, is there anything on the roof? Did he do anything? To the
No,
roof?
nothing on the roof. He just hung these streamers down all around. And he put that section up right over here. Of course, it's all rusted because they were tin cans, but they were such a beautiful red, white, and blue with the President Washington on there in the White House. And so he just put them up. And everybody says, just leave it up. Some of them like it.
Let's walk around to
So,
the front of your house.
Okay.
Try to keep you out of the sun, though.
Well, I can be in the sun a little bit.
Do you know how he got the idea to put the marbles in the cement?
No, he just wanted to, I guess, you know, make it colorful. It was pretty when he first did it because the concrete was white and the marbles sparkled and everything. And a lot of them have come out already. And eventually my boys will, you know, put them back in. So, and then he's got this little thing over here where he used the rim. He straightened the rim out like this. Those were the rims around the can. So he just straightened them out and made a little curtain like that.
And tell me about this shape right here. How did he make this?
Well, I think what happened is when he was doing the concrete work, he had a bunch of dirt left over and he didn't know what to do with it. So he piled it all up and made sort of a sculpture out of it.
And what are those other objects that are embedded in it besides the marbles?
Well, these are rims off the beer cans, and these are some bottles. And he's got marbles and some culls in here that a neighbor had given him from their shop. And he asked my husband if he'd like to have them, and he said, well, he'd put them somewhere. He'd hang anything up. If he found an old garter out in the street, he'd hang it up. We used to have a little tree, and he'd hang this stuff up, and we called it the fruit and vegetable tree. Some people thought it was real. It just had plastic vegetables on it. Like the little lemon tree in the back, that's my contribution. So.
Did these rocks come from your yard, or did...
No, he worked for Southern Pacific Railroad, and on his lunch hour, he would go out and walk along the tracks and pick rocks up and bring a sack home every day. There's a lot of rocks here. Took him a long time. Took him 18 years, in fact, to do the whole thing. But he got it finished before he passed away. So.
Did you ever figure out how many hours he put in on it?
I have no idea. I guess at least 4 hours every day anyway.
Let's look at the fence now. The gate.
Yeah. Now actually my oldest son did the gate. He did this, which I thought was very clever.
Tell me how he did that. That's really amazing.
Well, these are the tops of the cans, and you just push the tops out and put them together with wire and stuff.
And what did he do with the tabs?
Well, he's hung a lot of them up around on the other side of the house, like a curtain too, but they get all tangled up and everything, so I'm not too crazy about them. But, and then that was his dad's ladder, and that's his mobile that he hung up there. His dad made the ladder. I wouldn't want anybody to get on it, I can tell you that. It looks mighty flimsy to me. But, so he just put that out here, and then he put the old wheelbarrow out here that used to belong to his dad also. And his dad used to make him go out and where Memorial Park is now and hunt up bricks to make a walkway around their house, and he hated that so bad that he took his dad's wheelbarrow and called it the culprit and put it out here. The sign that says culprit on there now is has to be redone. So.
Did he build this right here, or did your son do this?
What's that?
This area right
This area right here, my son did that. And my youngest son made the little mailbox that opens on each side. And he used to have a picture of the house on there, but it, you know, with the weather and everything, it just didn't last very long. So that was my youngest son. And then the oldest son made another mailbox over here that opens on both sides too. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you can see how it opens.
Mm-hmm.
See, he's got April 1993. Somebody's left their beer tab. Yeah. And then he put these letters on these planters. And everybody asked me, well, what does it mean? Me, I-O-U, it, and everything. He said he just put it on there so people would ask. He had a very unusual sense of humor. Yeah. And these planter boxes right here, of course, were his father used to have them on his porch.
Let's look at this marble paneling here.
This right in here?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now my son did that and
Your
put
son
the
did
marble
that.
in. But the kids come along and dig the marbles out, 'cause you can see. And he used to have little board along here too with marbles in it, but they've broken those off, and so.
What happens when a hurricane blows through here?
Well, it sounds like the whole place is coming down, but I'm just amazed that it stayed up so long. You know, 18 years for all that stuff to stay up there, it's amazing. Oh.
Do you like the way it looks now better than you did 18 years ago? I mean, with regard to how it's faded and that sort of thing?
Oh, it was beautiful when he first did it. It really was.
Do you have pictures of that?
So, yeah, I do have some pictures, but anyway, it looked pretty. Of course, when everything's new, it always looks better, you know.
And who made this wall here?
This one,
Mm-hmm.
my husband. And he just cut some of the circles out of the cans, and then the tops and the bottoms of the cans, and hung those up. And then my son put this up that had tin cans. He likes the way it looks, rusty like that.
Yeah, let's go have a closer look at that.
Okay.
That's really beautiful. Your yard to me looks like that it has a lot of, like it has shrines in it. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Did your son and your husband intend for it to be like that?
Not that I know of. My husband never did tell me too much about what he was doing, Of course, my son, I knew what he was doing.
So, did your husband have any particular, like, favorite architecture or anything that he would try to model stuff after, or do you think he just?
I think he
completely-
just did it as he went along. Mm-hmm.
So you don't think there was any planning really
No,
that went into?
no.
Do these cans move?
No, not these. These don't. Those up there do. There's another one of his monuments right in here.
Oops. Oh yeah.
I don't know whether you call it a monument. I don't know what you call it.
There's a. Have you ever been out to Garden of the Gods in Colorado?
No.
Oh, there's some like natural rock formations that remind me of this.
Oh.
There's one called Kissing Camels or something like that. That looks like it's part of
Yeah.
half. It looks like a camel's head.
Mm-hmm. See, he has it. He has sort of a little hill going up there where the bird bath is.
Did he cast those disc shapes, those round shapes, or did
No.
he buy those or find them? Or
No, he made all those.
He made all.
Mm-hmm. Just the ones on the back patio, those square ones,
Mm-hmm.
are the only ones that he didn't do.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting hot?
Oh, not too hot. It's going to need some repair work pretty soon around here.
Now, all these rocks
So-
that are embedded in the cement, like right here,
Mm-hmm.
are those rocks he found
Yes.
when he was working for the railroad?
Mm-hmm. Or any place that he would go that, they had just different rocks around, he'd pick them up. So I don't know what else to tell you. Most people like taking pictures, across the street over here, in front of the house. I think that's their favorite part. And then they like the fence in the back
Mm-hmm.
real well. I'm going to plant some pansies in here as soon as the weather's a little cooler.
Oh, that'll be
And then they'll be pretty, So, he made this planter box here. And I had a photographer here a while back who wanted to take pictures of the roof up there. I was going to paint it blue, but my husband said no, he's going to put some Texas Pride up there so it looks like the sky. He dedicated everything to the beer, like Mr. McKissick dedicated everything to the orange. So that's about it, I guess, for the front. I don't know.
okay. had any problems with vandalism?
Not too much. Just mostly the kids, you know, they love to dig the marbles out. And then some people, somebody kicked some of those cans out in the front there, but my husband was smart enough to put cement inside so they couldn't recycle them, so, you know. Whoops. So I don't know what else. He has a bad dog, so we've got a bad cat. You know, he's got two Malone and marbles there. I guess you saw that.
Tell me about that experience when they came in. Didn't they come film here?
Yes,
Film a little
they
section?
did, and it was on Ripley's Believe It or Not, and my husband was living then, and they did a real good show. And at the end of it, my grandson was sitting on my husband's lap, and they put the rings off the beer cans over his little hand. That was so cute.
How old was your son at the time?
Oh, I'm not sure, in his 30s, I guess.
And how did they hear about it?
Through magazines, and let's see, they came out before. I was on To Tell the Truth out in California and on the Bill Cosby show, but that was after Ripley's came out. Ripley's, I think, are the first ones that came out that were really big, you know, on TV, on that show, so.
You were on to Tell the Truth?
Yes. Now, my husband was on the show Ripley's Believe It or Not. He was on there. I wasn't in that one.
Was To Tell the Truth the show where you had to guess? They had three contestants.
Right, and I won $1,000 on that show because they asked this young lady in the audience, you're supposed to tell the truth on one story and then the untruth on the other story. And my stories were that, my truthful story was that I lived in a beer can house. And the other story was that on my 78th birthday, I parachuted out of a plane. And so this girl that was supposed to answer this in the audience, she said, well, she looks like a gutsy lady. Said, I think she parachuted out of an airplane. So I won the money on that. Then I won, well, my partner and I on the Bill Cosby show, we won $666. So that was nice.
And what did you have to do on that show?
Well, he just asked you different questions, and if you could answer them right, you won so much, and if you couldn't, well, of course you didn't.
Did you and your husband ever travel very much and see other
No,
houses?
not too much. He
Yeah.
didn't care too much about traveling.
He didn't?
No. I went more than he did because my family lived in California, and so, you know, I'd want to go visit them. I visited almost every year I went out there. So in
Did they come out here and see the house?
Oh yes, yeah, they came out here, but not as much as I went out there. You know? So anyway, I don't know.
It's making such a pretty sound.
Yeah, when they did the movie, they had this girl that played the lead in the show, walk down, you know, behind these things, behind this curtain. And that was kind of cute.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Say that again.
I did a commercial for Ruffy's trash bags for recycling. And on there, when they were interviewing, they asked, you know, did your husband drink all this beer? And I said, well, no, I helped him. Somebody had to do it. So anyway, I was going to
But
say.
he didn't really. I mean, he collected.
Oh, yeah. He collected cans for years before he, you know, and had a lot of them before he ever started.
You know, neighborhoods who have recycling now, or that have recycling now, people come by and pick the cans out of the recycling bins. And
I know.
what do you think about that? You know, I know the city of Houston's kind of getting down on those people because they feel like they're losing revenue.
Well, they really shouldn't take them out of the trash bags. I mean, out of the trash bins. I don't think. You know, if they find them along the street, that's something else. You know, but that's like going into somebody's place and taking out their stuff. I don't think it's very good to go through people's garbage.
There's an awful lot of gentrification going on in this neighborhood. And how do you think that's going to affect you, or do you think it will affect you?
I don't think it will.
You don't?
No.
Why?
Well, this is becoming more of an art. You know, they have a lot of art studios out in this area now and everything, and I just think they're going to leave them there just for something to go see. You know, like the Orange Show and something. Just interesting places to go see. Something different.
Did you consider your husband an artist?
No, and he never considered himself as an artist either. I think Suzanne from the Orange Show is the one that really convinced him maybe he could be an artist. But when he was young now, he did some beautiful inlay work and things like that. He built a huge cedar chest, all inlaid with hearts and diamonds and clubs and spades. And he made jewelry boxes inlaid and picture frames and things like that. So he was talented. I think if he had some formal training in art, but maybe that wouldn't have made any difference anyway, but because he was going to do his own thing anyway, you know. So that's what he did, and this is what I got, aluminum siding.
Do you still have any of those objects that he made when he was younger? The inlay
Mhm.
stuff you do?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll show them to you if you want to see them. I feel so stupid, I tell you.
Oh,
When
I'm
I was doing
sorry.
that commercial, they had my little lemon tree out here, and we sat there, and they blocked the street off. And I'm telling you, I smiled and smiled all day long till my gums just stuck to my teeth. I tell you, boy. But anyway, am I messing up touching this? Probably.
Oh, it's better not to touch it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
But that's okay, you don't have to worry about it. I love this one. The light coming through the bottle. It's so pretty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when the light comes through the back fence, it's pretty too. Eventually, my sons will put up, you know, another fence extended on back to the end of the house, because I had to put up that fence back there for security reasons. You know, I couldn't leave it all open, so. But that Hurricane Alicia blew part of that fence down too.
Do you get a lot of strangers just stopping by your house? And
All the
knocking
time.
on your door?
All the time. And bus tours come by all the time. Had 4 bus tours a couple of weeks ago on a Saturday. And one of them, all these people were from Germany. And they'd heard about the beer can house over in Germany. Some of them said they were going to send me some beer. Some German beer. So that would be neat if they would, yeah.
Would people do that to bring you and your husband?
Yes, these point beers right here, people brought me those. And my son brought back some from Tennessee at the World's Fair. These point beers, I don't know whether they're from North or South Carolina or what, but. And of course, Shiner Bock is my favorite beer. My husband's favorite beer was anything that was on special after he retired. So. Yeah, one day a young man asked me what was my favorite beer, and I told him. And when I came out my back door, a couple hours later, there was a 6-pack there, Shiner Bock. And they're great.
Oh, that was
So
nice.
some people are really nice. Everybody has said they like it, you know. So what do I know?
Do you think if some fancy condos get built next door, that will have an effect on you, on your property?
I doubt it. I don't know. It's possible. Because that fellow that owns this lot next door wanted to buy my property, and I told him, well, it wasn't for sale until after I die anyway. And then the boys probably will take it over, you know. Because they love to do artwork. So that little shop is going to be great. And they wanted to build that all themselves, and they've done it, and they did a great job.
Do you think your sons are as interested in it as your husband was?
Oh, probably not as dedicated, but oldest son, he's pretty dedicated. Well, he has more, well, I don't know if he has more time or not. Anyway, they come and work on it when they can, but they have their own homes, you know, and so naturally that comes first, I hope. Anyway, but this will be an ongoing thing, you know, because things just don't last forever. So you just have to replace them with something else. But whatever they do back here, it'll be in the theme of the beer can house, you know, after their father. So that'll be nice. I'm sure wherever he is that he's looking down and just shaking his head because he couldn't believe anybody would be this interested. He said he wouldn't go around the block to see it. He just did his own thing, did whatever he liked. He loved drinking his beer and loved working outside in the garage. So that's what he did, as long as he could. And that's got little chips of, I don't know what that is. Looks like charcoal, but just almost anything he'd find, you know, he'd find some place to put it or something.
So did he do the inside of the house at all too?
Well, yes, he worked a lot in the house. He made all my cornice boards and laid the floors and stuff like that, you know, upholstering and stuff like that. But he didn't do any of his artwork in the house. I have one of my son's mobiles in the house there, and I have a little airplane that Captain Aluminum gave me. Yeah,
Who's Captain Aluminum?
Oh, he's actually a lawyer, but he goes out and collects cans, and he has some young boys, I think, from Scouts go out and collect some cans, and so then his friends made him a crown out of aluminum cans, and crowned him Captain Aluminum. So, and that's how I met him. He came over here when they were doing the movie. And so we've been friends ever since. Now he and his girlfriend come to visit me, and we just have a lot of fun, go out and eat and stuff. And he made me the little airplane that's in the back.
Okay, good.
I should go to the front and open the door. That's how far he got from 68 to 69 here. It took him a year to do this.
That's quite an achievement. That's a lot.
Yeah, let me run in there and open that,
Okay.
the back door. When the sun's shining on it. the cans, you know, because they have a lot of red in it and they were so pretty. But all the red is fading out. The blue and yellow stay pretty good. But eventually I think they'll all fade out. And on this little shop they're going to put beer cans too.
Oh, really?
Like on the house, uh-huh. I think when it's finished we'll have some fun times out here, you know. Okay, I guess that's good enough, huh? Do you think? Is that okay?
Yep, that'll work.
Whoops. This way, but it hooked on up there, so.
Tell me about this now, this archway.
Oh, well,
What is it made of?
concrete, and then he put little wooden stakes in here. Painted it kind of like an Indian thing, I don't know. And it's got a curve up over here. And he used to have things like that, you know, hanging down back there.
But he didn't paint stuff much, did he? I mean,
No, not, mm-mm.
Or is this the only thing that he painted?
That I know of, because he liked natural things.
And where did you find this rock?
I have no idea. Probably on a trip we took somewhere or something. I don't know. We're going to make this big planter here smaller. We're going to cut it off so we can walk behind there. And so we'll put bricks on it like this. This one, maybe a different color brick though. I don't know. There's a frog right there. And when the cans are new like that, they're really colorful, you know.